Get 3 months of local news for just 99 cents a month. You'll get unlimited access to the news you need to stay engaged and connected to your community. Visit inforum.com/subscribe now to get 3 months of local news for only 99 cents a month.
It was the place to go for NDSU students wanting to grab a bite to eat between classes. But the deadly 1957 Fargo tornado nearly put an end to that. Anyone who went into the AC Hasty Tasty restaurant for lunch that summer day in 1957 probably had a pretty low-key time. With school out for the year, it probably wasn't very crowded. And the weather was warm, but not humid, a pleasant 84 degrees with a southeasterly breeze. Nice. Even the number one song playing on the jukebox that day, Love Letters in the Sand by Pat Boone, had a chill vibe. The song went something like this. On a day like today, we pass the time away, writing love letters in the sand. That song, together with a cup of coffee and a piece of pie at the restaurant, definitely was a recipe for a relaxed day. No one could have guessed just hours later all hell would break loose, and the tiny cafe by the college would be in the path of destruction. It was June 20th, 1957, the day of Fargo's now infamous F5 tornado. While the most devastating aspect of the storm was the loss of life, others suffered devastating losses to their homes and businesses. Such was the case for Greek immigrants Nick and Aphrodite Giannakis and their cafe, some college kids called a home away from home. The AC Hasty Tasty was initially built near what is now Sanford Hospital downtown. It later moved to the east side of University Drive, north of 12th Avenue, near where the Bison Turf restaurant is now. The location just east of North Dakota's Agricultural College, now NDSU, provided a built-in clientele of hungry, yet broke college students. Right after it opened in February of 1941, students could ask for the special. Get this. You could get a barbecued pork sandwich, potato salad, and a hot chocolate for just 25 cents. Yes, 25 cents. But if that was too pricey, you could get a melted cheese sandwich, shoestring potatoes, and hot chocolate for just 21 cents. Forum columnist Bob Lynn spoke to a couple of AC Hasty Tasty fans a few years back. Frank Jennings, who went to NDSU in the mid-50s, said he loved the Hasty Tasty and the great lunch counter at the attached Pure Oil station. He said, as students, we knew where all of the good deals were. Connie Graber added, when I went to NDSU, the Hasty Tasty was a good place to have a coffee or go to when you wanted to cut class. The restaurant was owned and operated by Nick and Aphrodite Giannakis. Nick was part of a family of restaurateurs who immigrated to the United States from Greece in 1922. The family first settled in Wilmington, Delaware, but eventually made their way west to Fargo. The Giannakis brothers, including Nick, Andrew, Constantine, and John, operated bars and restaurants throughout the area, including the Chocolate Shop, the Empire Tavern, Le Chateau, AC Hasty Tasty, and the Smoke Shop Tavern. They became movers and shakers in service and hospitality, pursuing and seemingly achieving their American dream. But for Nick and Aphrodite, who ran the Hasty Tasty, on June 20th, 1957, that dream turned into a nightmare. Hours after those lunch dishes we talked about had been cleared away, the weather started to change. Meteorologist Daryl Richardson explains it this way. By late afternoon, it was about the same temperature, 83 degrees at 5 o'clock, but it was much more humid. The wind was much calmer by the end of the afternoon, so it probably felt a little stale with the light wind and humid for the last couple of hours before the tornado hit. It was the calm before the storm. A forum report from the 60th anniversary of the tornado described it this way. The dark supercell storm cloud that spun off the tornado bearing down on Fargo loomed for a long time in the western sky. On radar, it showed up as a mass towering 60,000 feet with a diameter of 50 miles. Many residents were nervously eyeing the massive black funnel cloud, spiraling with menacing potential. As it emerged, The twister was a sharply pointed black cone that rapidly dropped to the ground. Once it landed, the tornado quickly became much wider, losing its cone-like point and whipping a huge swirl of dust and debris. And it was taking dead aim on Fargo as it meandered east. That was, again, from a story that Patrick Springer wrote for the Forum on the 60th anniversary in 2017. The tornado would touch down around 7:40 p.m., a mile west of 29th Street North in Fargo, and tore through the north side of Fargo between approximately 7th Avenue North and 12th Avenue North. The AC Hasty Tasty was on the northern edge of the storm's most destructive path. You need only look at Nick's face in photos in the aftermath of the tornado to get a sense of what he must be feeling, like he had been punched in the gut. The restaurant he had run for 16 years was in shambles. Now again, because this is a podcast, you can't see these photos, so I do encourage you to look at them in the story on inform.com, but I'll describe them this way. There's a photo of Nick standing behind his lunch counter with those little round stools. Everything looks like you would expect from a cafe like that, except there's no roof. Other photos were taken in the kitchen. All the utensils were out. Obviously, they were cooking. And again, all you see are trees above him because there was no roof. Other photos show he and some other townspeople gathered in front of the restaurant. Again, you can find these photos within my story on inform.com. I put them into a special gallery. After the storm ended, it was time for the Giannakises to rebuild. The tornado had killed at least 10 people, with some reports saying the death toll was as high as 12 or 13. In fact, many of the victims were from one family, the Gerald and Mercedes Munson family. 6 out of their 7 children were killed when the storm flattened their home in the Golden Ridge neighborhood. I did link to that story. We've written about that family many, many times over the years. Devastating story. The tornado also destroyed 300 homes and damaged hundreds of other buildings, including small businesses like the AC Hasty Tasty. But the Giannakises wouldn't let the tornado beat them. The AC Hasty Tasty rebuilt and came back. By early 1958, ads in the college newspaper were reminding students that the AC Hasty Tasty was still a good place to meet and a good place to eat. According to reports in the Forum, Nick and Aphrodite retired from their restaurant in 1968. They sold the lot on University Drive to W.J. Kennelly, the owner of McDowell's Big Boy Jr., which was located just to the south. By 1976, the couple moved to Edina, Minnesota to be closer to their family. Nick died in 1983 at the age of 79, and Aphrodite lived to be 100 years old, dying in 2015. And that is it for Back Then. Thanks for joining me. I hope you catch us next time.
If you're loving this podcast, be sure to check out our full lineup. From news and local politics to sports and true crime, find your next great listen right now at inforum.com/podcasts. That's inforum.com/podcasts.